Hello, everyone, and welcome to Best Practices to Reduce SAP Costs, Complexity, and Operational Overhead. Today's webinar is sponsored by Pure Storage and produced by Actual Tech Media. I'm Keith Ward. I am with Actual Tech Media, and I am delighted to be your moderator for this special event today. Now, before we get to today's content, though, we do have a few housekeeping items you need to know that'll help you get the most out of this session. Up first, we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. Let us know where you're logging in from today. We're seeing you from all over St. Louis and South Carolina and Maryland, Texas, just all over Los Angeles. Good to see you, Michael. And thanks for logging on. Now, that Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, and slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, let us know in the Q&A and we will provide further technical assistance. All right, next up, check out the handouts section of your questions box there. It's right next to the questions tab. You can see it on the left. And there you will find some terrific resources. I'd especially like to call your attention today to a link to getting started with Pure Storage. Now check that out now. Now in the handout section, you'll also find links to the Gorilla Guide Book Club where you can get access to our vast library of technology books. And there's also a link to the Actual Tech Media Events Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events, including some really juicy ones. Check those out. And if you see one you like, sign up today. We are also giving away at the end of this event a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Now, you do have to stay on throughout the entire event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions of the prize drawing can be found in your handouts section. With that, everyone, let's get to today's main attraction. It is my pleasure to introduce you to our Pure Storage team of presenters today. We have got Ryan Arsenault, a field solutions architect for SAP. We have got Brian Farrar, Flash Stack Solutions Marketing Director, and Peter Kozlowski, Director of Strategic Alliances for SAP. They are revved up and ready to go. So, Ryan, you were up first, I think. So I'm going to turn it over to you right now.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Ryan Arsenault. So I am a principal field solution architect here with Pure Storage, covering SAP around the globe. My role is part of a group of really database and platform experts who have been in the field before, have been customers before. I was a 13-year customer, but whether it's SQL, Oracle, SAP, VMware, or really anything across the board, that's really what our organization is chartered with and helping everyone get the most out of their infrastructure. We're here to talk about SAP today. I'm joined by two very, very good friends, Brian Farrar and Peter Kozlowski. Brian, you want to start?
Sure. Brian Farrar. I manage marketing for SAP Solutions. And looking around the room at the three of us virtually, we probably have 100 years between us of SAP experience here. I first started in the dark ages back in the early 2000s with SAP and have been dabbling with it ever since. And Peter, I'm going to throw it over to you. You and I both hail from another vendor where we worked on SAP together.
Yes, very happy to. Thank you, Brian. I have the honor to lead our strategic alliance efforts with SAP and other SAP ecosystem partners, focusing on co-innovating solutions for you. My experience with SAP goes back to R2. I can't believe that I started actually writing code, SAP code on the IBM mainframe. It's been such a long journey now. Great pleasure to talking to you today. So Ryan, move to the next slide, and I don't know, can we just flip? Yeah. All right, and I'd like to maybe kick off our session with the following thought. Let's wait for the slide to build up.
I think you can go ahead, Peter.
Yeah. So your transformations are about maximizing outcomes for your businesses through many things, but one of them, very important ones, are simplifying and automating infrastructures to fuel growth of your companies. And this is what Pure Storage has been focusing on in co-innovating together with SAP and working closely with you on joint solutions. And can you imagine that using technology, using Pure, you can accomplish significant outcomes, significant reductions in total cost of ownership, in usage of power, and impacting the space of your data centers, in raising the availability of your systems, eliminating migrations, no forklifting, no upgrades, right? Evergreen forever, so to say, right? Simplifying your deployment architectures and accomplishing significant time savings. So these are really very, very special accomplishments which are at your disposal. And we have been happy delivering them to our customers on a daily basis, working together almost as partners. I'd like to turn it now back to Ryan, right? Or no, back to Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, slide's bumping around a little bit. This is a slide that I like to put up front when we talk to people outside of the four walls of Pure, because like a lot of vendors, you're going to hear a great deal of claims today about what we can do in an SAP environment, what we can do in an enterprise environment for you, and why storage makes a difference. But unlike a lot of the other vendors, our claims are almost always specific to data we collect in real time through our Purity software. So when you talk about things like data reduction, number of nines of availability, we're talking about data that is sent back to us in real time. So these are claims that come out of our actual SAP deployments. The other thing I like to say is it's important that you ask your vendors if they walk the talk. And I like to believe that Pure walks the talk. And we have a number of proof points to demonstrate that. One of them is our leadership in the analyst community. The analysts love Pure Storage. And in fact, Gartner has given us now 10 consecutive years in the upper right-hand magic quadrant. This is Gartner's estimation of which vendors have both the greatest vision and the best ability to deliver on that vision. And as I say, for 10 consecutive years, Pure has led the storage space. We've also outgrown all of our competitors in the market. I like to say that the market votes with dollars and it votes with share growth. And if you look at the chart on the bottom right-hand side, you can see a CAGR of our 6.5-year storage market share growth. And you'll see that Pure Storage consistently outperforms every other storage vendor. And that's because we deliver on what we say. And the final proof I would say on that is that we have a world record Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is the most difficult measure of customer satisfaction in both the consumer and the B2B industries. Our Net Promoter Score is among the top 1% of all B2B companies. And we measure every quarter. We bounce back and forth in the mid to upper 80s, and most of our competitors, the industry average, is down in the low 20s. So customers also are telling us they see that Pure walks that talk, and we deliver on what we're going to say. So just a little bit of truth and credibility there to start out with. The next thing I wanted to talk about a little is to set the stage for our conversation today about data and why data is important. And I like to quote semi-quote Neil Young, "Rust never sleeps," and like to say data never sleeps, in particular in an SAP world. SAP is perhaps the most ubiquitous of all enterprise apps. I mean, it runs your company. It's your ledger. It's your customer information. It's even your HR information in a lot of cases. That financial information, that customer data is always growing, always expanding. And that means storage has to be your most dynamic layer of your SAP infrastructure. It has to be scalable, has to be flexible, has to keep up with SAP. I remember my early days of SAP when we weren't as sophisticated at sizing solutions as we are today. We used to, from day one, size SAP capacity for double what we knew we were going to load initially, because we knew almost instantly that SAP environment would expand to consume all the capacity. So when we talk about SAP, it really is important to understand that storage matters. Storage makes a material difference in the success of your SAP deployment and your ongoing SAP operations. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan to get into some of the meat of what we do for SAP clients.
That's great. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that both. So SAP's giving you all a choice, right? And it's not really a choice. Let's be honest. It's a mandate, right? You may have been running SAP for 1, 10, 30 years. At the end of the day, everyone has the same decision to make and the same journey to go through. And that's the journey to S4 HANA, right? Most customers are facing a pretty long project to get there. It no longer is it just swapping out a database, right? You've built every business process, everything that drives your business, every customization, everything that makes your business unique, you've driven into your ERP software, into SAP. And now you have to pick that up and redeploy it in S4 HANA. That's why it's going to take a while. That's why analysts say only 15 to 30% of SAP customers have made that move so far to S4 HANA. And it's going to be a lot of time of redesigning business processes, mapping to new and exciting SAP business processes that they've delivered out of the box, customizing the software to meet your needs, to meet your business requirements, where you may do things differently that you think give you a competitive advantage over your competition. And then obviously deploying, stabilizing that solution, training your resources who are using SAP to make sure that they know how to do their daily jobs in a new environment, and all this by 2027. Right, this is the journey that every customer is making, and at the same time, your business needs to continue running over the next 4 years. Right, so being able to change an engine on a plane mid-flight is really what SAP is asking a lot of customers to do. And I really want to talk about today how Pure Storage makes that easier, how Pure Storage can make that, not only that journey easier, but make the platform that you're supporting once you're done that much easier to support as well. Now, Brian mentioned something about how storage still matters in an SAP world. And I love that statement. I think I'm going to get a t-shirt for the three of us, by the way, that says that. Infrastructure should be work for you. Storage is not just a commodity. Storage is not just something that you need to make sure you have enough of, need to make sure that the lights are blinking green, and you need that, if you have a developer who wants to write ABAP at 2 a.m, that they can. Storage should do more for you. And even in an in-memory database, where performance is given, right? HANA is a fast platform because it runs in memory, but everything that goes into that memory layer also needs to be persisted in the storage layer, right? If power goes out in the middle of a transaction, you're going to lose all that memory. You're going to have to reload that data from somewhere, and it better come from a fast storage provider, right? Our top end performance really is needed for synchronous database writes, right? Every transaction that goes into the system gets written to the memory layer as well as to the storage layer. You need to make sure that that's fast. I've lived in situations where slow storage, granted I was at a competitor, slow storage made our SAP HANA solution, just the whole application shut down, right? Especially in seasonal workloads, right? Everyone has that seasonal workload, whether it's end of quarter, right? Where you have 80% of your business may be coming in because that's just how the sales cycle works. Or think of a retail scenario, right? Millions of transactions on a Black Friday that have to go through an ERP system to be able to ship out and fulfilled. Those are the times where your storage is really going to get stressed, and you need to make sure that you have fast storage to take advantage of that. At the same time, data needs to be mobile, right? Your data is just not in a single database, right? Especially in an IT system, that data needs to go to test systems. It needs to go to performance test systems. It needs to go to development systems, right? ABAPers can't write code against business data that is not accurate to what production is. So being able to get that data moved downstream, as well as over to your HA and DR systems in the case of an emergency, also very critical. And secondly, everyone's looking at cloud, right? You should have a hybrid cloud strategy by now, I would hope. I think there was a lot of, I'm throwing everything into the cloud, and then people realized, oh my God, I can't have everything in the cloud. And they're starting to repatriate some things back. Your ERP is your most critical asset in your entire environment, right? You want to make sure that you have that thing bubble wrapped and you're taking care of it. And I think a lot of customers are starting to realize that a full cloud deployment of SAP, especially S4, maybe not for them. So how do you enable a hybrid cloud scenario? How do you get a single pane of glass to be able to monitor your on-premises workloads as well as your cloud workloads? How do you be able to move data back and forth, not only quickly, but cost effectively, right? Very easy to get data into the cloud, very hard to get it out. We'll talk a little bit about that. But what I love to start with is always our snapshot story, right? This is something that I try to bring up stack as much as possible. And when I say up stack, really talking to basis managers, application managers, people who are at the front lines, next to the business, monitoring and taking care of the SAP application. And snapshots are a great thing that I try to bring up stack that. The first thing, our snapshots are very simple. They're instantaneous. They can be done in 1 or 2 clicks, either through our API, through our portal, our Purity portal, or through our APIs. Everything we do is API first. So very easy to be able to start to create some automation now around our snapshots. And the reason that they're so good is because they're not duplicating any data, right? We are not taking a copy of your HANA database and writing that on the storage layer. We are simply saying, you know what, I have a pointer to that data at this point in time, and now I can use that pointer in any way I want. You can go create 80 copies of that HANA database. And I say that because I actually have a customer who, for some strange business process, every week creates 80 copies of their database. And you think the storage admin likes them to have 80 copies of their database? He doesn't care, because they're completely deduplicated across the storage array. It really only takes up the storage of one database. And that's really how our snapshots are powerful. That's why a lot of my customers, the basis team, has full access to be able to take snaps, take clones, and do their job much easier because they have a fail-safe of data. So what are some of the usages for these snapshots? I've already hinted at a little bit, right? Refreshing your dev and test system, getting that business data out of the production system into your test environment. Like I said, your ABAP is not going to be able to fix an issue in production if you can't recreate it in the test or the dev environment. And Brian said it, right? Data is the lifeblood of your SAP system, and that's across the board. Every scenario, getting those strange data occurrences that happen in your production system migrated down to your dev and test system will make your lives so much easier from an IT standpoint to be able to support that system, recreate things that your users are doing, things that you never would have thought of in the test process, right? Because let's be honest, our production users sometimes are our best testers, right? Getting those systems, getting those scenarios into test, so much easier. And with our open APIs and the ability to be able to take lightning quick, instantaneous copies of your database, and I say copies loosely, right, because we're not copying anything, being able to get that data moved over to your test environment really can change the entire platform and the quality of your platform. We have a great use case for this. Our success story, AgroSuper. I feel like I've been using this success story for a number of years now, but that's because it works, right? It's a company that had a refresh process that was taking 9 days, right? A 21 terabyte ECC database running on Oracle. They use everything for this, right? They're a Chilean food distributor. They even wrap the food on the floor using robots, using their ERP system. That's why they got up to 21 terabytes. It was a very manual process. Took lots of resources. And not just basis resources, right? This is infrastructure resources. This is basis. This is DBAs. This is business analysts who need to test that things are working, even production users who sometimes go into the test environment and say, yep, that looks good. All the data's there. We help them to get this process down to 20 minutes, right? A full automation end to end, using our APIs, using our snapshot capabilities. They now do this weekly, right? Every Monday they come into a test environment that has production data, which has they've told us, change the quality of their entire platform all the way up to the business, because now they're working with data in their SAP environments that they couldn't create before, right? Recreating data is very hard to do in an SAP standpoint. I remember using tools back in the day when I was an SAP customer, trying to get that data recreated in the environment, trying to either figure out what the production user did or using some of the tools to slice and dice the data and move it over. It just doesn't work. It's very, very hard to do. We make it that much simpler, and it changes a lot of the platform. Secondly, how about just having a backup to fall back on, right? You're doing support packs in your system and you're going to take a backup at the start. Now just put snapshots in between all of the steps to do a weekend downtime. Now, if something goes wrong in your downtime, you're not going back to the backup. You're not canceling your downtime, not being able to get those important patches in. And let's be honest, there are patches that you have to put in, vulnerability patches, for example. We're going to talk about that in a minute, that you have to put in on a consistent basis, and you need downtime to be able to do that. Downtime is a naughty word when it comes to the business, right? It's very hard to get downtime, and it's even worse when something goes wrong in your downtime. You have to cancel it and then take another one the following weekend. Snapshots make it that much easier to, when something does go wrong, get back up and running quickly, figure out what went wrong, and then move on and go forward. How about data loads, right? Getting data into your system. This is what every SAP customer is going to need to go through as part of their S4 project, getting their business data into their new system. Whether you're greenfield, brownfield, pinkfield, it doesn't matter. You have to get business data into your system, master data especially, customer data, pricing data, inventory data. All that data has to get into your system, and that data has dependencies, right? You can't load pricing data until you have materials in there, right? If something goes wrong with your material load, something's going to go wrong with your pricing load. So as you do these data loads as part of the project, you want to make sure that you put snapshots in between each one of these, right? Your conversion team is going to set up environment for 2 months only to run this mock data usage. And I remember back when I was implementing ECC, we had a 10% data load go in. And I remember this poor little analyst from a consulting company I will not name came up to me and said, don't worry, Ryan, we only had 10%, but we feel that we know what went wrong, and we're going to do better in 3 months when we run this again. And I don't know about you, but looking at him and knowing what he's charging me, I can't wait 3 months to know that you're going to do it again and it's going to be better next time. Put snapshots in the process. So if something goes wrong, pause, go back, fix whatever went wrong, fix the bad data entry, fix the code or whatever you need to do, and then go on and run again. Don't wait 3 months for the next data load and a consultant to tell you that everything's going to be okay, because you don't know that. And with our technology, you don't need to know that. And then my favorite one, who has not had a short dump in their SAP system that has taken down an environment for a day, a week, who knows how long. Short dumps, one piece of bad code can take down an entire business process, right? And if you're creating sales orders in your test environment and suddenly you're getting short dumps because a transport went in, I don't know about you, but I've heard many screams through our IT landscape when that happens. I have customers now that are taking snapshots of their test environment, taking them every 5 minutes, keeping one a day, one a week, whatever they want. That way, if a transport does happen to go in and you do start to see short dumps, don't wait for the developer to fix his code and then do a retransport. Get back up and running through that snapshot. Fix the code after, so you don't have users screaming, I can't create sales orders, I can't create master data, I can't do this in the system because some bad code went in, right? These snapshots not only good for protect your production data, but protect your test and dev data as well, because like I said, they're not taking up much storage. Your storage admin probably won't even know that you're taking these snapshots because we deduplicate everything on the array. And again, your ERP is probably your most critical asset, right? Do you think, with all the vulnerability patches that SAP continues to put in, do you think if a bad actor got into your system, he would not go after your ERP, right? He's going to go after it because he knows how mission critical your SAP system is. Our flash array safe mode snapshots for ransomware remediation stop them from being able to take control of your data, right? Maybe it looks like they take control of your data because the first thing they do, they delete your backups and their snapshots, right? They delete your data, say, your data is now encrypted. I have your data. Pay me if you want it back. That doesn't happen with Pure Storage, right? We have safe mode snapshots where we are taking snapshots constantly of your data, however often as you want, and they cannot be deleted. They cannot be eradicated. They look like they're deleted, but you can't eradicate it. I can't eradicate it. We have to do it together, our support team and you, to be able to delete that data. It's just a great way for you to be able to take control back of your data. And we have things out now that are constantly looking at your not your data, but your volumes on the array and say, hey, you know what? This volume was getting 4-to-1 data reduction. Now it's getting 1-to-1 data reduction. Maybe something weird's going on here. Maybe it was encrypted. Maybe you want to go look and see if there's someone in your system who is now taking control of your data. We also have SLAs, right? If you want to get back up and running, because let's be honest, when a ransomware attack happens, that array is usually now evidence, right? You usually now have someone who's looking at it to figure out how they got in, what they did. We have SLAs. Well, we'll get you a new array and we'll help you get that data moved over to that new array and get your business back up and running as quickly as possible. Ransomware is not going away, right? It's here to stay. We're doing our best to help you remediate if in case that does happen. And just following on the data protection montage here, we do have a wide range of other data protection availability features that are built into the array. And by the way, everything I'm talking about, this comes with the purchase of an array, right? We're not charging for data. We're not charging for snapshots, for safe mode, for all of our data replication features. Those come to you as part of your purchase of the array. And as we continue to innovate, and we call this a subscription to innovation, right? As we continue to innovate, it's just an OS upgrade, which you can do at 100% performance while up and running non-disruptively, an OS upgrade to be able to take advantage of our new innovations. And looking at some of our protection features, whether it's synchronous replication, continuous replication, which we'll talk about a little bit more detail in a second, taking those snapshots that I talked about, moving them someplace else, right? Replicating them to an array or a colo or even just an NFS target, or having those locally in your test environment example is just a great way to be able to make sure that all of your data, whether it's production, test, whatever, is protected and able to be recovered in case something goes wrong. Now, I do like talking about ActiveDR a little bit. So this is our solution that I talk to customers quite a bit when it comes to HANA. ActiveDR is continuous replication. Essentially, we are saying every write that comes into the array, we're shipping it off to another array. Doesn't matter how far it is, doesn't matter how much latency you have. We're shipping it off, assuming that it gets there, not waiting for that response back, right? So it's not synchronous, it's continuous. And the reason that people love this solution so much is because you can now, because of the way we've designed this technology, go test your DR on your DR site without ever interrupting production. Right? You don't have to now take production down, bring up your DR servers, bring up your DR storage, start the business processes, go through and test all the business processes to make sure that you can do this, because that usually happens on a weekend with downtime. The business is in the room, IT is in the room. I remember when I was in IT, it was the worst weekend of the year. Everyone's grumpy, everyone's crabby at each other. You can do this now with ActiveDR on a Wednesday afternoon if you want, right? Because the way we designed it allows you to promote that DR site. Replication still continues underneath in the background, but you can still test those scenarios, make sure that your business can continue in the event of a disaster. And I love telling customers, combine this with HANA system replication, right? Why not use HSR for the HA layer, right? Because you want to be able to quickly fail over from an HA standpoint. You don't want to wait for that data to have to load from storage into memory, and HSR gives you the ability to do that. But when you have a little bit more leeway on RPO, RTO when it comes to DR scenarios, why not use our continuous replication scenario? Replicate from either site, either your HA or your primary site over to DR. Know that your data is getting over there 1 to 2 seconds, maybe latency, and test DR during the day to give your business confidence in the event of a disaster that yes, we can continue business. And just before I hand it back over, I do need to talk just a little bit about cost, right? HANA is a fantastic platform. I first implemented it in 2011, right after it went GA. It was this new, cool, fast thing where I remember getting a report that ran in 3 hours down to 3 minutes. And the business was like, oh my God, this is amazing. We want this for everything. Pump the brakes a little bit because HANA can be very expensive, right? Memory is not getting any cheaper. Databases are not getting any smaller. Right? Data grows, memory gets more expensive. You need to be able to keep this data in memory to be able to get the speed that you're looking for when it comes to HANA. But you may not want every piece of data in memory, right? There may be data that you only access once a year, once every 5 years, maybe never. But getting an archiving project through a business project plan is probably one of the hardest projects to convince the business to do, right? Because archiving to them means you're taking their critical data, you're moving it on a piece of tape or some really cheap flash storage like the FlashBlade E that we have announced recently, and you're putting in the back of the data center, never to be seen again. That's kind of what it is. Archiving is. Businesses want to be able to have their data back when they need it in the application. Native storage extension, fantastic capability from SAP from a HANA standpoint, allows you to pick and choose which data goes into memory, which data you want to just keep on the storage layer and access it. HANA smart enough to access it when it needs to, right? So now all that old IDOC data or all that technical basis data, or maybe sales orders that are older than 10 years that you're never going to look at, but your business won't let you archive them, keep them in the storage layer. You can do this at the table layer. You can do this at an attribute layer. You can really do this across the board, anywhere you want. Great way to reduce your infrastructure costs. Great way to reduce your growth from a memory standpoint. And in some cases, depending on how you license, great way to reduce your licensing costs for SAP, right? A lot of customers are licensing HANA today based on how big their databases are in memory. Anything you can take out of that is going to shave costs from a licensing standpoint, and that's money that you can do other things with, right? Money you can innovate with, because let's be honest, IT budgets are not getting bigger either, right? So anything that you can save is going to make it much easier for you, your business, and your entire SAP platform. I'm going to pass it over here to Brian now, just to take us home a little bit with a product that I know is near and dear to his heart. I think you're muted, Brian.
Thank you. I apologize. Obviously, we run with every server in the industry. Storage, you can add Pure Storage into any SAP environment you already have, any legacy environment. No issues there. But many of our customers do want to buy a holistic infrastructure, a full stack, if you will, for their SAP environment. And for those customers, we offer our server platform called the Flash Stack, which is a joint solution engineered by Cisco, who provides the compute and the network layers, along with Pure, where we provide the storage layers. And we support that with a single path of support, single path for escalation. And it turns out that SAP is one of the most popular workloads on FlashStack. And the reason for that is FlashStack is optimized for OLTP applications. It is screaming fast. And during the COVID era, when server growth and IT spending was interrupted a little bit, servers in the industry dropped to only a 2% annual growth. They've recovered a little bit to 6 and 7% since COVID. But to put that in perspective, FlashStack is growing at 10 to 15% annually. It is the fastest growing server in the industry. So we are actively taking share with FlashStack. And the reason is, it is, like our storage, absolutely simple to operate, simple to grow, simple to scale. And not only do we run SAP on that solution, but you can run any of the other common applications on the platform. One of the examples is Epic in healthcare. Epic is the #1 application in the healthcare space, and FlashStack is the #1 platform for Epic. We even run Epic hosting on FlashStack. So I just want to put a plug in there. If you're looking for a full stack, it is simple to manage, single pane of glass for all the manage all the layers of your infrastructure. And we also support Cisco's App Dynamics on the platform, which is one of the single most popular application performance management solutions on the market. So FlashStack for SAP also comes with one of our pre-validated designs. The CVD, Cisco Validated Design, was the original validated design in the industry. Most pre-validated designs from competitors are 10, 15 pages long, glorified white papers. The Cisco CVD on FlashStack for SAP is 250 pages long. If you follow every menu, every instruction, you are practically guaranteed to reduce your typical SAP deployment time by up to 60% and get to green lights on the system without any errors. So the CVD, which we keep constantly updated as SAP releases new revs, as we release new storage arrays, is always there for you and always accurate with the latest technical content. So with that, Peter, can you tell us a little bit before we wind up here about the partnership we have with SAP?
Absolutely. Brian and Ryan, truly exciting. And I trust you got our audience excited about what data storage and infrastructure in general can do to your business transformations, to your SAP migrations, and to your daily SAP operations. So this is not only a project, this is a daily benefit, a daily operations benefit. There's one aspect which has been mentioned, but I think it's worth bringing up again, is the sustainability. In the entire context of innovation, sustainability is like on top of our list. Can you believe that Pure Storage can help you save 85% of environmental impact? Can you imagine what value it brings to our planet, to our businesses, to our companies, but also to our families and to us, right? So very, very special part of our innovation and thought leadership here. We have a great, thank to you all, we have a great customer base, SAP customers running and entrusting Pure Storage for their data storage solution. We are present globally, and our customers contribute to that innovation and are available also to you to learn more from them. And we're always very happy to make that connection. And you see us on a regular basis on stage with our customers talking about the benefits and outcomes we can collaboratively accomplish using technology. And last but not least, our relation with SAP. We are honored to be SAP's global technology partner. We co-innovate very closely for SAP HANA, for S4 HANA. We have a lab in Waldorf at SAP headquarters. We have dedicated engineers, architects, and also field specialists who can work with you. We are also part of the SAP Partner Edge program, if you're familiar with that. And once again, SAP HANA is one of our top co-innovation projects with SAP, has been now for almost 10 years. With this, I think we can wrap up and turn to Q&A.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. Well, while you were talking, Ryan, a number of questions came in, and I've kind of been watching them. So I'm just going to go through a couple of these, and feel free to jump in with an answer. The first one I see, I'll read it to you, is my company recently started an S4 transformation project, which has led to assessing our data infrastructure needs. What advice would you give to SAP administrators like me? Well, Ryan, since you were an SAP administrator, this is a perfect one for you. What advice do you have?
Yeah, I can take that one because I remember being in the early stages of an SAP project, and it's like you're drinking from the fire hose trying to learn SAP, but you have all these decisions you need to make, and you need to make some of these decisions pretty early on, right? Especially around infrastructure. I said it a little bit at the beginning, and I'll just reiterate it. Don't underestimate the power of your data storage platform, right? Don't treat storage like a commodity. Make sure that you're picking infrastructure that works for you. Make sure you're picking infrastructure that when you need something, it's there. When your data needs to become available, or when your data needs to become mobile, or just don't sleep on the fact that your application is going to be only as fast as your data storage, right? Pick fast storage that allows you to do some of the things that I was talking about today. There's a lot of choices out there for infrastructure. We know this, especially now with public cloud as well. Make sure that you're treating the infrastructure choices seriously, and picking an infrastructure that at the end of the day is not only going to be reliable and stay up and be performant, but give you all those data services on top of that can help you run your business and run your SAP environment that much easier.
Thank you, Ryan. Speaking of infrastructure, next question I see is a little different angle, but it's asking, do you have any subscription options for Pure running in an SAP landscape? I'll go ahead and jump on that one and say we absolutely do. We have a range of subscription offers. Probably the most important one is Evergreen One. This is storage as a service and is most mature storage as a service offer available in the industry. As we've talked about throughout the presentation, data continues to grow. So storage has to be your most agile layer of your infrastructure. So if you're dipping your toes into a subscription model, starting with an Evergreen One model, subscribing to the storage makes great sense, not only financially, so you're only paying for the IT assets that you consume at any given time, but also operationally, that subscription offer gives you the ability to grow and scale your storage on demand as your SAP data landscape grows. And so absolutely, we have storage options, or subscription options rather, for SAP. And on the FlashStack side, if you do choose to implement a full stack, we can offer you an entire subscription for soup to nuts compute network and storage in a single subscription contract. So the answer to that is absolutely yes, and I encourage you to look at Evergreen One for your SAP environment. Another question here that's come in, I'll read it out. What is the difference between your replication technology and HANA system replication technology? Great question, often confused. Ryan, can you shed any light on that?
Yeah, I touched on this a little bit when we were talking about Active DR, right? So HANA system replication, obviously it's their application-based replication software, right? Many customers use this, and a lot of times customers use this one because the basis team is usually the one that sets this up, right? They're usually in charge of things like HA and DR, and that's what they know, right? So that's what they use, which is fine. It works great, right? It allows you to keep memories in sync between your HANA databases, right? So I mentioned before, if you want to do a quick failover from an HA standpoint, it's important to have that memory layer in sync. Our replication technology, which is at the storage layer, right, will not be able to keep that memory layer in sync. That's why I mentioned earlier, when you have a little bit more leeway on your RPO, RTO, maybe you want to look at storage replication. Some of the things I talked about, being able to test your DR while your production instance remains up and running and replicating, you can't do that with HANA system replication. That is really a unique feature of our storage replication. You can do our synchronous replication between two storage arrays if you want to do HA or DR. We have many customers doing that. But as you saw from that slide, we have many different flavors of our storage replication, and it usually is it's one of my favorite conversations I have with customers, actually, is helping them design based on their business requirements, based on their RPO, their RTO, designing out what replication fits for them. And there's no reason why it can't be both HSR and storage replication.
Thank you, Ryan. We're almost at the end of our time. I think we have maybe time for one more question before we turn it over back to Monisha for some housekeeping. So if I have a HANA production environment on a different Pure Storage array than my test dev environment, can I still use snapshots? Snapshots, obviously, a really cool system. Ryan, you elegantly described them before. You want to explain the difference here?
Yeah, the short answer, absolutely, 100%, right? Those snapshots, I think as part of that replication slide, I talked about being able to take a snapshot and replicate that to another Pure Storage array, or really at any NFS device. You need Purity, our operating system, to be able to rehydrate that snapshot, right? That way, if you do have production on even in a different data center than maybe your test dev environments, you can still take a snapshot of your production HANA database. By the way, you can take that while it's up and running at 100%, right? You don't need to, if you don't want to, go to hot backup mode and freeze the file system and do everything to quiesce the database. We guarantee that even if you take a snapshot while production's up and running, that snapshot will start up, that database will start up on the other end. It may not have 100% of the transactions, right? Even though our snapshots are fast, our writes are even faster. Something may sneak in while you're taking a snapshot, but it's not going to change the integrity of the database. You'll still be able to start that database. And a lot of customers love that, right? Because you don't want to take production downtime because you need to refresh your test environment. Right. So just take a snapshot while it's up and running. And with our replication technology, you can replicate that snapshot to another Pure Storage array, to your test environment, and be able to hydrate it over there and use it as much as you want.
Thank you very much. Great explanation.
All right. Well, that was an excellent session. Thanks so much for that terrific presentation for all three of the presenters today. Such good stuff on how Pure is helping to up level SAP in these environments. I want to thank Ryan, Peter, and Brian for giving us those details, for dropping such great knowledge. I want to thank all the attendees for their great questions. And I wanted to add here as well that any questions that weren't answered today, either during the presentation or online during the event right now, will be going to Pure Storage, and they'll be following up with each one of you. So have no fear. If your question didn't get answered, it will be in time. So with that, folks, we are ready to give away our Amazon gift card. $250, as you see there on the screen. And as I mentioned at the beginning, you do have to be present during the entire event to be eligible to win. So the winner of today's gift card is Kelly Murphy from Iowa. Congratulations to you, Kelly. We'll be in touch very soon to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Pure Storage for making this event possible. And I want to thank all of you attendees for being here with us. You're the reason we do this. So great to be on with you today. Thanks for your interest, for your great questions. And it was just a delight to be here with you. That concludes today's event. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.